the Executive Chairman of NPC, ably represented by Honorable Federal Commissioner for Edo State, other Honorable Federal Commissioners here present, from Benue, from Rivers, who is also the Standing Committee Chairman, or the Chairman of the Census Standing Committee, from Yobe. I think that's all the list. The Director General, the Director Census, ably represented by Director Data Administration, the directors here present, Census Manager, resource persons, including our senior colleagues from academia, who have been with us both through the census and now through the PES, the media, participants, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. Thank you for the introduction and the invitation. And I'm delighted to join you in this auspicious occasion. Let me point out from the outset that I'm not here to represent UNFPA, even though I wear that hat sometimes. I'm here primarily in my capacity as the Chief Technical Advisor for Nigeria 2023 Population and Housing Census, whereby implementation of a successful post-enumeration survey is part and parcel of my key responsibilities and deliverables. Now, that being said, let me foremost share my thoughts about, technological hitch. So let me share my thoughts about the trial PS process. The objectives of the training, as have been elaborated by the PS coordinator, are to present an overview of the various methods of evaluating censuses with a focus on the post-enumeration survey. You will be expected to pass these methods on to the functionaries that we are going to train hereafter in order for them to collect the desired data. Therefore, do not take these lessons for granted. The trial census results will be used to evaluate the trial census in the 6 local government areas and states from the 6 geopolitical zones of the Federation, where 100% coverage was conducted. The sample years represent peculiarities across the 6 LGS and the states, via which several systems, methods, and procedures will be tested to support adequate preparations for the main census and PS operations, including group building, numbering, and household listing modality, systems interoperability and data flows between census card, CS entry, and the cloud and on-premise servers, and mobile data device management and deployment and use, which has been recently introduced as part and parcel of the control systems after the trial census. Therefore, you need to note that every year counts and every individual will count. It is to be noted that every facilitator here present was adequately screened and certified as qualified to present or to represent NPC in this important activity. Hence, being a participant here confirms that you have what it takes to execute your duties and responsibilities accordingly. You are the ultimate message carriers to the functionaries who will directly collect the data required to achieve the PS objectives. Therefore, failure to execute your tasks accordingly is not an option and will not be condoned. Remember, the PS has a zero tolerance policy for error. And to that point, I would like to thank the PS coordinator and his entire team for all the hard and good work so far undertaken. I also want to profusely thank NPC management and key staff for the remarkable facilitation and involvement in the PS process. A lot still remains though, and I sincerely hope that the momentum generated by this trial activity will carry us through to the logical conclusion of this process. Now, having dealt with that formality, ladies and gentlemen, may I now crave your indulgence to follow me as I talk you through highlights of some technicalities pertaining to the implementation of the PS process across the world. As a CTA, I wouldn't have done justice to this occasion without taking this detour. Let me first, by way of doing that, speak to the rationale broadly for PS. Many people wonder why PS is important at all. Is it really a necessary and sufficient condition for successful census taking? Or just a formality, a checkbox for justifying staff involvement and implicit expenditures, let alone the associated publicity and visibility that it brings to both the individuals and the organization? And if PES is indeed that important, why isn't it implemented by all countries? And we could talk more and more about other questions that we need to answer to make sure that we are properly situating the Nigerian PES on the right causeway. And I will answer these questions and more indirectly in the next few minutes. Now, owing to their importance in driving national and global development agenda, assessing the quality of population and housing census data is increasingly seen as an integral part of the census operations. Hence, UNFPA advocates for more countries to carry out elaborate qualitative and quantitative assessment of every census. Errors inherent in census data are broadly of a coverage or a content nature. And a coverage is more common, particularly among certain specific groups, such as young children, young mobile men, and undocumented migrants. But overcoverage also happens, especially if local authorities with an interest in exaggerating their populations are able to influence the data collection activities. And I want you to listen to me very clearly, and I chose these ones very carefully. Content errors also feature prominently. Individual data are often provided by an informant who may not know all the details regarding each person in the household. Equally, some household members themselves may be unsure or misunderstood, may have misunderstood some questions. They may even hide or distort information on purpose. Finally, the numerator may make mistakes or even take shortcuts in filling out the questionnaire. As a result, the overall quality of data collected may be poor. And I want that to reflect in your minds, particularly those that we are training to take this message forward, because it's directly linked to some of the challenges we have in the census which necessitate the conduct of a PS. And unfortunately, some of those challenges, if you're not careful, will be replicated in the PS, thereby rendering the objectives of the PS, useless or come to nothingness. So there are several methods for quality assessment, broadly categorized as internal and external validity checks, achieved through demographic analysis of the census data and/or comparative analysis with previous censuses, sample surveys, and administrative data. However, these methods bear several limitations, if at all they are available, especially in Africa. Thus, many countries opt for a more thorough and more systematic evaluation called the post-enumeration survey. But the basic idea of our post-enumeration survey is simple. Replicate the census shortly after the main census operation, usually within 3 months, for a sample of the population, asking a subset of predetermined census questions, and compare the results, both in terms of coverage and content, with the corresponding census results. The closer the results are to the census, the better the quality of the census results. However, the apparent simplicity of the PS process in general and the explanation in particular that I have given here can be deceptive. Many unsuspecting countries that carried out a PS in the 2010 census round, that is around before the census, never published the PS results. Some only issued estimates of national coverage without a methodological report or detailed breakdown of the results, rendering the whole process look like it was worthless. This occurred even in countries with long and solid census traditions such as Brazil, which decided not to publish its PS results of the 2010 census because they were considered unrealistic. While others, including South Africa, found major problems in the application of the PS methodology. This is largely because many countries embark on a PS operation without realizing the inherent difficulty of the exercise and never quite fully consult and plan in order to establish concrete technical context and support mechanisms for its execution. Suffice it, therefore, to say the overall PS methodology is stringent on rules and procedures. Therefore, countries require meticulous planning and utterly controlled and efficient execution in order to conduct a credible PS to give a verdict on the true population among other key coverage and content indices that provide users of census data with acceptable levels of confidence in order to make the life-changing and life-saving decisions that should be driven by evidence derived from census and other large-scale official statistical operations. The underlying principle of the dual estimation methodology on which the evaluation is predicated requires the matching of individuals between the two independently collected census, subsample, and PS datasets. Comparison of the two datasets is achieved at individual level and may reveal persons counted in the PS but not in the census, and vice versa. Many of the operational complexities of PS derive exactly from the need to make this individual level comparison of the data possible. The classical PS matching involves two stages: matching the households and then matching the individuals within those households. However, for Nigeria 2023 census and PS for that matter, we will conduct the matching operation at the building level, taking full advantage of the award-winning geospatial database that helps to identify buildings more accurately and uniquely than households would. This is yet another major innovation coming through for Nigeria. Every case in the PS with no correspondence in the census and vice versa will undergo field reconciliation visits to determine their true enumeration status. This will be made easier by the georeference database, which clearly identifies the buildings in question, thereby saving money, time, and other costs. The most common error, therefore, in organizing PS is lack of coordination with the census itself. As always, the fact that the process is being evaluated requires certain provisions in its organization to make an evaluation possible. If the PS is only planned in detail after census fieldwork, its proper conduct may have been compromised. The planning of the PS should be integral and parallel to the census process itself. Therefore, a proper PS process imposes even greater rigor in applying the census rules than otherwise needed. Ladies and gentlemen, and I'm winding down now, for Nigeria 2023 census process, these requirements have been met at varying but reasonable levels. It is billed as one of the 5 tiers of the Nigeria 2023 Population and Housing Census Data Quality Assurance Framework, thereby making it integral to the delivery of a successful census process in Nigeria. Recall, if you will, that the 2023 census is renowned and widely acknowledged for its extensive use of technology to transform key processes and procedures in order to uphold transparency, credibility, and reliability of the results. These special attributes will be adapted and replicated in the PS process. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, the Nigeria PS, or Post-Enumeration Survey for the 2023 Population and Housing Census, is a master stroke by design and modus operandi. And when and if the book on Nigeria's 2023 census journey is finally published, it will say that you participated in the first fully digital census. It will say that you participated in the first innovative census, and it will say, ladies and gentlemen, that you participated in the most credible PS, a masterclass PS operation in the century-old history of census taking in Nigeria. I salute you all, and to the PS team, I say, keep going. We can do it. Thank you.
Please, another round of applause for you.